to the church in Philadelphia. And we all want to be the church of Philadelphia, right? That was the church that Jesus really praised. But he said here in verse 7, to the angel of the church of Philadelphia write, just a second, go back. These are the words of him who is holy and true, who holds the key of David. What he opens, no one can shut, and what he shuts, no one can open. I know your deeds. See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. I know that you have little strength, yet you have kept my word and have not denied my name. Yet this was Jesus' words to the Christians in Philadelphia, that he said they had little strength, but he was placing a door before them that no one could shut. And I've discovered in serving the Lord, I've been in the Philippines now for 23 years, this term back. And I've seen that a lot of what serving God is simply going through the doors he opens. We don't really have the strength to do it, but he has doors he wants us to pass through. He has things he wants us to do. And so God's opened some doors for me to do things I never had any plan. When I went to the Philippines, I went over with the goal of working with Filipino young people and having to encourage them in missions. And my eyes were on the ends of the earth, seeing Philippines reach the rest of the world. But the Lord had different plans. When I got there, he changed it. There was different doors that he opened for me. And he showed me that I had to let go of what my plans were and to let him do his plans in my life. And when I stepped through his doors, I just saw he did a lot of amazing works. And I'm sure there are works also and doors that the Lord is opening for this church. And he wants you to go through those, and some you're going through already. So I'll just share a little bit about what we're doing. I'll try not to be too long because I know you have... Oops. Where am I? Is it there? It's not there. Okay, here we are. So I'm sure that you know where the Philippines is. We're just next door neighbors to Indonesia. In fact, I think some of the words are the same in Tagalog and Indonesian. I was reading some of the songs and trying to see if I recognized any words, and I might have. Were you singing about vinegar? There's the word vinegar in there, so maybe it's not. It's a different word. But anyway, this is the Philippines where I'm living, and the door God's opened to me is a place south of Manila, about 13 hours by bus, bumpy bus, and two little islands called San Miguel and Cagaray. So this is a closer look at the province of Albay, where we're at. The big tourist attraction is Mayon Volcano, an active volcano, which has erupted 4 times since I arrived there. But the place that we're at, well, it's one of the 4th most unchurched, non-Muslim provinces in the Philippines, so quite needy. Only 19% of the communities, barangays, have an evangelical church in them. So it's really a missions field. So this is where the Lord placed me. I had no plans to go to this island. I knew some people from Manila in a Bible study who were from this island. So we took the Bible study group there one Christmas to visit. And the Lord opened the door for us to start a work on the island. And so, before we arrived, there was no evangelical church on the islands at all. So the goal was to plant spiritually and financially stable churches that can continue to make ever-increasing number of disciples on the island. So this is it from Google Earth. So that's San Miguel Island, about 10 miles long and 2 miles across, about 3 miles from the mainland. There's Cagaray Island, and we're on the northern part of Cagaray Island as well. So this is the type of homes that a lot of people have on the island. There's some cement homes also, but many people live in nipa huts and farm rice and other types of vegetables. This is our main transportation on the island, is paddling. So I had to leave my car keys in the States and get a paddle in the Philippines. There's also motorboats that we use. These are 2 of the boats we use, but do a lot of walking. There's now some motorcycles, but when I first arrived on the island, there were no vehicles of any kind on the island, so it was all walking. So we would often have to walk 1 hour to 2 hours to go to a Bible study in a home, and stay overnight and then walk back. That's when I first started. You can see my hair is a different color there. Now it's more like the grass. I've been there for a while. And this is the way they wash their clothes. Their washing machine, just from the wells. So I had to get used to doing all of this. And no electricity when we first arrived, no cell phones or anything. So it was kind of an adjustment for me. But I I saw that when I stepped through the door that God had for me there, He gave the grace, to adjust my lifestyle. I wasn't used to eating fish and rice before I went so much. Now I'm very used to eating fish and rice. And so the farming is still done with the carabao. Do you have those in Indonesia?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So I might show you at home. We also use it for transportation sometimes. That was fun. So this is looking from Cagaray Island out over San Miguel Island. So what we did when we first went there is we just, again, looked for open doors, where God was opening people's homes to listen to the gospel, people who He had placed an interest in their hearts. We didn't try to force anything, but just looked for where God was working already. Just had Bible studies wherever people wanted to hear God's word and learn, because no one had taught the Bible on the island before. And by His grace, Jesus has raised up 3 churches on the island. One in the northern part, one in the southern part of San Miguel, and one in Cagaray. So when this happened, I thought that was actually pretty much the end of what I was going to be doing there, just the church planting. This is one of the churches in southern that was being built. This is the one in northern San Miguel. And then that's also the southern part during the service. And this is on Cagaray Island. So I thought that was kind of what God wanted to do. But He had other plans. He had other open doors He wanted to give us to step through. And one was to develop a Christian campsite on the island. There was no Christian campsite in the province, no place really to take youth for the camps, but we were able to get some land. And so we didn't have any budget for the campsite at all, but we were able to get the land, and we built a small building just for our Bible studies. But we had a group of students stay with us for a time. They were from San Miguel. This land was on Cagaray Island. And the parents asked if they could stay because they didn't want to keep going back and forth. With bad weather, there were waves. So we let them stay, and they wanted to play basketball. They love basketball in the Philippines. So they started to clear out an area for a basketball court and put a rim on a coconut tree. But it was slow going, so we thought, well, we don't really have budget for it, but we have about $1,000 in the bank that we're not having to touch. The monthly budget is just enough to keep going with our ministry. But we had it $1,000, so I thought, why don't we just hire some men from the island that don't have work and let them just clear out the area for these kids to play basketball. Well, when they started doing that, the next month's support increased for no reason. I didn't tell anybody we needed it, but just some other people decided to give. I said, wow, the Lord's provided support. Let's keep clearing. And that became something God did over 10 years, where we never planned it, but He increased the support, and we were able to continue developing the land until the basketball court became that, instead of just the coconut tree. And then He provided again that we were able to build other buildings, for office buildings, and that became a church for a while, before we moved it to another part of the island. And then guest houses on it. And so now we can house 90 campers and have conference center and everything on the island. And it was just amazing how God did it, because actually I didn't want to do this. I wanted to just do the church planting. I thought this would be a distraction to really build this. But every time we prayed and said, Lord, do you want us to continue building? We don't have any budget left. If you want us to continue, you'll have to supply the budget for it. But we're not going to go look for it. We're not going to force it. But if you want. 3 times within 1 hour after we prayed, we received money, for the project. Once it was in the mail, we finished praying, and then we went to the mailbox on the mainland, and there was a check there for a large amount. Then another time, twice, it was through internet that we prayed, and I remember one time praying and saying, Lord, we have a lot of people working right now. We don't have budget to go much longer. And we talked in our meeting about what to do when the budget ran out, if we were going to terminate everyone or cut the number of workers in half. And we couldn't come up with a good solution. If we cut it in half, someone would be jealous that they didn't get to work. So we prayed and said, Lord, you see the situation? The only thing that we see as a good solution is more budget. So he said, if you want us to continue, we'll need a large budget from someone we don't expect, because everyone who gives is already given. And we went to the internet, and I received an email from an anonymous giver that was larger than anything we'd received. So the Lord was so faithful, and so this campsite is just a miracle from Him. So many of the men also became Christians through that we employed for it. We had devotions for them every morning. So many of them are now attending the church because of that. And of course the youth camps, we're able to do many youth camps, on the facilities. And now churches from the mainland also come in and help. This is Roel, he's one of the workers there. Then I thought that was it, and God opened up another ministry for us, an FM radio station, low power FM station. We never planned to do that either, but someone contacted me, and he was an electrician who was retired in Southern California, and he became a Christian through Christian radio and wanted to use his giftings for the Lord. And so he contacted me and said, "Do you want an FM transmitter?" I said, "Well, sure, why not?" And so we got it and tested it, and people were so excited on the island to be able to have our own station. So we've gone through it now. We just opened up our second station on the other island just before I came back. So now I'm DJing also. DJ Dave. I'm learning lots of things. So that's when we were putting the tower up at the top. Kind of a precarious...